Blessed day saints, apologoítefsi. That's a Greek word that means disappointment. The root word is French, disappointer, which simply means to fail to keep an appointment. And the definition of it in English is a sadness or a displeasure, dislike caused by non-fulfillment of one's hopes, expectations, and aspirations. You find out that in the book of 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 16 to 18, Paul feels betrayed and bitter that Demas has forsaken him and not managed to give him the support that he was expecting. This is so much like in life. We may have a lot of people that are around us that we expected will come through for us. Might be friends, might be family, might be loved ones, spouses, or anybody that we counted on to come through for us, and they fail to do as much as we expected, and we end up being disappointed. And if not addressed, disappointment could actually lead to pessimism. It could destroy faith. It could lead to anger, sorrow. It could lead to hopelessness. It could even lead to regret, discontentment, and it actually destroys faith. You find out in the Bible that we've got a whole lot of examples leading through of people that were disappointed either with men or even with God. Joseph expects to find a virgin Mary, a virgin wife, but before he knows it, Mary is saying that she's pregnant by the Holy Spirit, something that had never been heard before, and something that it would be very difficult to believe even in present-day circumstances. And fortunately for him, God visits him in a dream and tells him that the disappointment that he has in the short term is for greater good. There is a bigger picture. So we get in this story that sometimes disappointment in the short term in things that we can see, if only we could look up to God, you'd find out that there's a greater purpose. Nothing just happens. Everything that is happening in your life, everything that happens in people's life, usually there is a greater purpose and a bigger picture. Because if God, who knows the number of hairs on our head, and is interested in so much specific, particular, and small detail like that, would he let something that we perceive to be bigger to just go like that? And sometimes the people that we perceive even as peevish, perpetual spoilsports, we do not realize that they've been allowed to act like that because there's a greater purpose that is coming. Wrong motive usually leads us to disappointment. You find out that in as much as Judas was committed to the ministry of Jesus, he had a wrong motive in it because he thought he would be somebody when Jesus finally gets to rule as the Messiah, gets to rule as the king in Israel. And when this doesn't happen, he's so frustrated to the extent that he sells out Jesus. And this leads to the most treacherous sin that man has ever done. So sometimes when we have got a wrong motive, you find out that we will always be disappointed because when motive is not satisfied, then our faith is destroyed, and this can lead to treachery. Limited perception about somebody or something might also lead to this dastardly nature of feeling. You'll find out that even though Jesus said it over and over again that he would die, he will be crucified, and after 3 days he will resurrect, the disciples did not really understand what he was talking about. And when he is actually crucified, you find 2 disciples walking to Emmaus, and they are very disheartened. At the same time, they are in so much pain, they do not realize that Master is within the environment, is with them. Sometimes when you are going through perception you thought was right and it is disturbed, or it is frayed, or it is not met, you will walk with God. His presence is there, but you won't even realize it. We get disappointed sometimes because we've got a wrong perception of the people that are around us. We expecting that these ones will do this to us, these ones will do this, and it doesn't happen. Never have a wrong perception of what is going on in your life or in the lives of people that are surrounding you, because this will lead to a disheartening experience and you might end up even being disillusioned. Then, when you also have a mistaken priority, you'll be disappointed. So many people prioritize comfort over personal growth. They prioritize the comfort zone, things that are used to, things that are very easygoing, instead of character development. Well, God is not particularly interested in our comfort. Actually, He wants us to go through so much discomfort so that we realize our purpose, we realize that which He has ordained us for and sanctified us for. But most of the time, we want so much to wallow or to enjoy our freedom in the comfort zone. And our characters do not get to develop, because usually characters, they develop when we go through things that we are not used to, things that we're uncomfortable with. Those are the things that make us to grow. And also sometimes that when you're falsely relying on somebody, false reliance, it leads to disappointment. So many people have relied on their jobs. During this time of Corona, so many people lost their jobs, and you soon find out that you'll be frustrated even to the point of being suicidal. So many people relied on people they thought would be them for life, and when they got discarded by those people, maybe it's a love relationship, then they realize that there wasn't need for them anymore to continue living. Some killed themselves. This is false reliance. Some people rely on their education. Some people rely on their positions. Some people rely on their professional qualifications. Some people rely on money. But you soon realize that all these that people rely on, it's like moving sands. Sooner or later, you'll be disappointed because nothing lasts forever. You can only rely on one constant reality, which is God. Everything else, you shouldn't get attached to somebody or to something, because at the end of the day, everything else will pass away. Heaven and earth will pass away, but His word always remains. Always remain in His word. Abide by there. Sometimes we tend to blame God and others in trying to compensate or cope with the pain and disappointment that we're going through. If we look into the Bible, you find out those people that actually didn't blame God, like Job in Job 1 verse 22. He never blamed God for what he was going through. He is one example shining through that managed to get through that which God allowed to pass. Many of the people that do not seek to blame others when they are disappointed or blame God when they are disappointed are the ones that successfully make it through. If you usually seek to blame others, blame God when things do not go through, you'll be very frustrated in so much that your faith will risk being shipwrecked. Sublimation is also another method that is used by people to defray or to deflect on what is going on. Sometimes we are so engrossed and we want to invest ourselves in things that take our mind off things. You'll find out that instead of actually processing the disappointment, processing what we're going through and finding out the proper way of dealing with it, which can only be found in Christ, you find out that so many people want to engage in these dealings. They want to engage in sports. They want to engage in entertainment. They want to engage in traveling. They want to engage in all that. But at the end of the day, you find out that you're still grappling with the problem. It's just like when you're trying to treat just the tip of a problem. You've got an issue, you've got a stress of a problem that you should solve, and you think that alcoholism is the way out. You drink your alcohol, but still tomorrow in the morning you'll have to deal with the problem that was there before you went into it. So you find out at the end of the day, sublimation does not actually work. You cannot deflect what is going on. You just have to deal with it, and you just have to find a way to process it. You will also notice that discouragement and disappointments are weapons that have been used by the devil through and through history to actually get God's people destroyed and God's people deflected from their purpose, from God's plans upon them. In the times of old, it was the Jews. They didn't believe in the Messiah. In present times and occasions, you find out that the children of God that are supposed to be having faith are the ones that are quickly They are quickly turned away from faith by the circumstances that happen in the world around us. There's this virus that is going on. People's faith is quickly destroyed. There's this temptation. There's this trial of faith that has come. People quickly begin even to think that is the end of the world. Cancer has hit a believer. Before they know it, they were proclaiming that they were ready to go to heaven. But because there is cancer that is going on, they want to hold on to dear life as much as possible. You realize that sometimes we profess that which we do not actually believe in, and this also leads to disappointment. So the devil is very good at making sure that he uses this to distract us. He uses lust, he uses anger, he uses revenge, and he also uses unworthiness. Sometimes when you commit a sin, you feel so unworthy afterwards. This is a tool that is used so effectively by the devil to make sure that whatever you were planning to do, whatever faith that was left in you, you've got low self-esteem, and you even feel useless and worthless in so much that you feel you do not deserve anymore to be in the grace of God. So you find out that this tool is so potent. So many people have been shipwrecked. Their faith has been shipwrecked because of it. Let me tell you also something about why people get disappointment or get hooked on disappointment. You find out that bad memories, dwelling on the past, what used to be, oh, they hurt me this way. Oh, they disappointed me this much. Oh, I didn't expect that they would do this to me. You hold on to bad memories, you'll always be disappointed. And also, if you keep good memories of wrong things that used to be, but things that are not aligned to God's purposes upon your lives, you will be disappointed over and over again. You remember the days that you call golden, that you used to go out, that you used even to drink yourself, and you actually swim home like fish. You remember how you used to date several women, several men, sleepovers, and all that. Holding on to good memories of bad things will always disappoint you. And also you realize that when you play the comparison game, this will also just lead to disappointment. This one has bought a car before me. God, when will your face shine upon me? This one has gotten a job before me. They've gotten promoted before me. I thought I was the one who was worthy of the promotion. God, I've worked so hard for this. When will you remember me? I've always felt like I deserve this, but I don't have it yet. Then my next door neighbor has it now. God, what is going on? Never compare yourself with what somebody is going through. Otherwise, you'll have stress and you'll be disappointed time and time again. God knows the proper time, the proper place, and the proper people that He will bring into your life so that magic happens to you. Do not live in the past, and certainly don't downgrade the present. The past was a lesson for you. And you should understand that the difference that you should make, you start with it today. Tomorrow, if you wake up and look unto Jesus, the author and perfecter of your faith, and walk in it, you realize that you will soon have it. Are you disappointed? Let me tell you something. Do you really know that one who's considered the greatest basketballer of all time, Michael Jordan, he was chucked out of his high school basketball team? Do you know that Albert Einstein, who was chucked out of his college entrance exam? You will also be interested to know that Walt Disney was fired from his first media job. You said you are disappointed. Check what these people did with their lives. You also realize that soon a caterpillar grows into a beautiful butterfly, and the lotus flower blooms so beautiful, stuck in mud. This will encourage you, and you will need to understand that Every cloud has got a silver lining. When you're going through disappointment, it's not the end of it. When you're going through disappointment, there's something that is beautiful about it that is about to be curved or to be shaped from what you're going through. In Haggai 2, verses 9, there is a verse that is so thrilling which says, the glory of the latter temple or church shall be greater than the former. There's always something that is so beautiful through it, the experience that you're going through, that will shine forth in the life that you are destined for than that which is in the past. Do not always cry about the former days. Ecclesiastes is a very good place. Look, there's a verse that says, those that say, but the days of old were greater, no one could be more foolish than them. Let go, look up, look ahead, and get moving. God has got a purpose and He's got a bigger picture. He's got information on the whole. You've got a bit of information. God has got the whole piece of information. So you should look up to Him for the answer when you're going through disappointment. Do not look at the circumstances, because you'll be depressed even the more. The solution to disappointment is found in the book of Matthew chapter 11, verses 2 to 5. You remember that story when John the Baptist had to send his disciples to Jesus and ask, are you the Messiah, or should we wait for another? Well, the response by Jesus to John was revelatory. Jesus did not say, I am the one. He did not say, I am not. Although he was disappointed by John's inference or John's doubt, he says, go and tell John, the blind have their eyes opened, the cripples walk, the poor have got good news preached to them. This would remind John of the purpose of the Messiah, what he would come for. It would quickly cajole his mind to that which he even knew was the truth from the beginning. I think also that even though as John was disappointed that he had done the right thing by rebuking Herod for having a relationship with his cousin, his brother, he looked up to Jesus to deliver him through so that he would be taken out of prison. He needed that messianic touch, but Jesus did not do that. And John might have been disappointed, but Jesus has a bigger plan. God has got the bigger picture of the disappointment that you're going through. Soon enough, you will realize that death to self is resurrection to a greater purpose. Sometimes John needs to die for the ministry of Jesus to launch forth, because they can't be two. Sometimes your own self, your own ego need to die so that at least God can show you the greater purpose, the greater plans that He has with your life. If you run parallel to what God has created you for, it will always be a cycle, a merry-go-round of disappointment. Another solution to disappointment is to stay faithful to that which God has given you. Everybody has got a purpose. God has got a plan with each and every one of us. In Job chapter 13, verse 15, you realize that Job did not even compromise. Doesn't matter if you've got cheerleaders or you don't. Don't seek validation from men. You should always know that when you're going through disappointment because maybe people have not acted in a fashion that you thought they would, remember your purpose. Remember that there is somebody who's cheering you up until the finishing line, and that somebody is not human. That's your maker. People will wake up with different feelings and emotions depending with how they slept and with who they did. One day they'll be clapping hands for you and they'll be liking your pictures. And if you're taken in by that, you will realize that even as social media fools people, you are beginning to be regulated according to how people treat you. not according to how God treats you. Your mission, whether with cheerleaders or not. Remember, Noah is in the Hall of Fame of Faith in Hebrews 11. He had no cheerleaders, yet he is greater than Aaron. Aaron was the first priest of Israel. He had a whole lot of cheerleaders, but he is not in the Hall of Fame of Faith. What is greater is fulfilling your purpose. Philippians 1:6. He who's in you will see that you accomplish that which God has started in you. Do not be fazed by how people react to what you go through. How they perceive you is not your business, but how the master that has fashioned you sees you, that's your business. Do not be regulated by what is surrounding you. Finish your task. Look up to Jesus. And the last way to handle disappointment is to be realistic. Great expectations lead to great disappointment. Rest in God's providence. Do not even expect your spouse to behave in a way that you would have expected them to behave. Do not expect your friends, your family, your children, or anyone to behave in the way that you would have wanted them to behave. This leads to heartache and disappointment. Always understand that as long as I am in the path that God has ordained me to be, as long as I am completing and working the purpose that God has put me here on earth for, that is that which matters. Disappointment will not hit you like a ton of bricks. You will navigate through because you will understand that he who sent me has got a greater reason and a greater purpose than this what is happening.